He's been a transporter. He's been a beekeeper. He's even been called expendable. What job could Jason Statham take on next? What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And I just sat through A Working Man. This is an Amazon MGM production. It does have audio description. Produced by Deluxe, narrated by William Michael Redman. Click like and subscribe because I'm a blind film critic just trying to talk a lot about film from the blind perspective and audio description and accessibility and all those kind of things. And I could definitely use some more subscribers. So, A Working Man stars Jason Statham, and that's really all you need to know. That's the whole reason you're here. It does have some other people in there, but they're kind of horribly underutilized. Arguably, Michael Pena and David Harbour both really don't do anything here. I mean, I could say they're in here, but they don't do anything. So I don't really understand the purpose or the point of why they're here. Because anybody could have played those roles, but it's them. This is based on a book, shockingly. It's also written by Sylvester Stallone and David Ayer, the screenplay, and it's directed by David Ayer, who worked with Jason Statham on The Beekeeper. So, what is A Working Man about? That's a great question. That's a question you'll find yourself asking throughout A Working Man. What is this movie about? Well, to sort of quickly cut through the bullshit, we have the main plot revolves around this friend of Statham's character, who is Michael Pena, who has given Jason Statham work over the years and has made Jason feel like he's part of the family. There's a little bit of backstory about Statham having lost his wife some point in the past. He does have a daughter in this movie, and his friend loses, his daughter gets kidnapped, presumably instantly for sex trafficking purposes, but does get kidnapped and taken, and he's beside himself. And Jason Statham is a man with a very particular set of skills that he's gathered over a long period of time. So he's going to do what any good Liam Neeson would do in this situation, and he's going to go rescue the girl, Jenny, who we also see through just really sort of heavy-handed panning of the camera that she is trained also in hand-to-hand combat through some trophies that she's won from various martial arts competitions. So she's somebody who could take care of herself in a couple of scenes that will require her to do so. So Statham basically goes the entire movie going from person to person, working his way up, figuring out where she was taken, going after the guy who runs the bar, working his way all the way up. It moves through the Russian mob and all these gangs that work along with the Russian mob and all of these tangential people related. None of it ever makes any sense. This is one of the dumbest movies I've seen in a long time. And it's really hard for me not to hold back my disdain. I like Jason Statham. I actually love Jason Statham. And in general, I think some of his movies are fun. I thought the first Meg was fun. The Beekeeper has fun moments to it. I like the Transporter movies. You know, this is not good on any story level. Like, the script is really bad. Everything that's said in this film is terrible. It's really stupid. There are situations and setups that just don't make any sense. And I don't know. It's just, everything is over the top. It almost feels like a grindhouse version of an action movie. Like, not made for any sort of intent or purpose on horror level, but just like some sort of like a send-up of action movies. Like, it's so nonsensical at times. Like, things make no sense. Like, that would like things that we don't see in other movies because they don't make sense, or it's not actually that interesting or fun. They do them here. So yeah, he just works his way up the ladder, gets into the Russian mob, because all roads usually lead to the Russian mob. And there's this guy that traffics girls, and there's some guy named the Viper. They all have stupid names, who picks out girls, and he gets them for this guy, and he pays a lot of money, and it just was Jenny's day, I guess. Just she was just too hot, right? You know, she had that look of rape me on her, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, he breaks into this sex trafficking ring, knowing it's a sex trafficking ring. One of my inherent problems with the movie is he doesn't go all like Sound of Freedom on this movie and like try to like rescue anyone else who's being sex trafficked. And kind of once he gets Jenny, he just kind of walks away. So while like the organization is fragmented, he didn't really stop sex trafficking. Like he just kind of went after one girl and was like, well, this is all I came for. If you're just giving me to her, you could have kept sex trafficking. I don't care, whatever. And that's what's so oddly frustrating about the movie is that at every turn, no matter how many people he kills, they go out of their way to move Jenny even further away from him and to pretend like, no, let's not even try giving her up. Let's not even see what happens and see if he'll just go away. No. But it's literally all he wants. Like, the movie doesn't have any grand messaging about sex trafficking. It just has Jason Statham needs to rescue this one girl to make his friend happy. The end. That's the movie. So, the whole movie hinges upon him being able to get to Jenny. He's not trying to set all of the girls free. The movie doesn't even really go into, you know, where are all the other girls? Obviously, he's taken more. You know, where do they go? What happens to them? Do they exist? Are they sold somewhere? Can we find them? Where are the other Jennies? We don't care. He's a working man. So yes, he has a military background, and he runs into other characters that have military backgrounds, and everything is very heavy-handed. Like, he has like I would call it like a murder board, because that's what a lot of people would refer to it in other things, but it's like pictures of other people, like in the organization as he meets them. And he has this picture of, after he meets this guy, Dutch, and he has it like friend or foe. I'm like, oh, come on. He could be a friend because he has military service beneath him. Like, really? This is an exhausting movie. It's also 2 hours, so it's way too long for what it is. It is way too, it overstays its welcome by at least 30 minutes. Like, it needs to be at least 30 minutes shorter. There's so many cheesy moments in this movie that are just, I kept groaning and rolling my eyes and wondering why I was watching the movie and wondering, like, could I leave the movie and still review it? Is that kosher? Like, can I just be like, I didn't want to be here anymore, and I left, and just review the movie, and I don't know how it ends. I don't really care how it ends, because I felt it was just, it lacks any, it's not fun. It lacks any discernible, cohesive plot structure moving forward. And it's just punch, punch, kick, kick, bang, bang, you know, next person. He has, and they do these stupid scenes. He has like a scene where he picks up, there's a grandfather in this. He has a daughter, and then also like an older gentleman, Dr. Cade or something his name is. And he gets this call from the school that's like, nobody came to pick up Madeline today. And he's like, oh. First of all, like, he knows he's getting in deep with this organization. And at one point, he had to have his license scanned. And whether it was fake or not, I mean, like, there's still, like, he's still putting himself out there a lot. And he has, like, a 12-year-old daughter. And he hasn't really done anything to, like, secure his own family. He just, like, doesn't even think about it because the film needs them to be in peril at some point. So, but he goes and picks up his daughter, and, like, they have this conversation, and about, like, it feels like it's getting down to business, but it feels like she's down for getting down to business. Like, they have this look where they just kind of look at each other like, let's do this. But then she doesn't go kick ass. She just is like, yeah, We got this. Fist bump. What was the point of that? Like, my my daughter supports me in murdering relentlessly for a good cause. I don't. This has got to be the most frustrating Jason Statham movie I think I've seen ever. I don't know. I didn't like Crank. I didn't like Crank 2 that much. I didn't like Meg 2 that much. I know he's got a couple films where I'm like, I don't know, what is his worst movie? But this is definitely in the running. I will say, and the thing about why this movie's not getting enough is that if all you want is mindless action, if all you want is punch, kick, shoot, repeat, that is this movie. Just ignore the plot and only come in for the action sequences, because there are a lot of them, and the action stunt work is, I guess, fairly impressive. It just goes from sort of action set piece to action set piece. So, but a lot of times he's also fighting people who don't have remotely the same skill set as him. He's fighting people who don't feel like that they would be a threat to him in real life. You know, there's something about fighting somebody and having somebody come into the film who actually feels like that they can go toe to toe with you as the main villain when you have somebody who's combat trained. Here, everybody who just shows up feels like they could be easily defeated, and generally are. Even like every time they level up, they feel like they're bringing like, well, we tried to throw that person at him, that didn't work, so let's throw the next level up. Well, that doesn't work either. Like, they don't really have a person who feels like they just step out and it's like Donnie Yen, you know? It's like Jet Li's here. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Well, Jason's screwed. Like, there's nobody that ever feels like that it's so tough that Jason Statham may actually lose. And nor does Jason Statham ever seem worried that he might lose. It's like he's already read the end of the script. And at no point does he ever feel defeated at any moment. He feels like he's just walking through this whole thing. It's like playing a video game that you've played for like 2,000 times and you're just like going through the motions and showing something. You're like, okay, you go here, you jump up on this block, and there's gonna be a guy there, and you punch him, and then you move over here. It's like you're doing like the world's like least enthusiastic walkthrough of a video game. That's kind of what a working man is it just feels like there are no stakes. He never feels like he's in any real danger. He's never really concerned with anybody else except getting this one person back. Anybody's expendable except Statham. You know, his family gets in, I guess, a little bit of danger, but nothing that feels like extraordinarily like, wow, that's what the Russian mob was able to do? Damn. Okay. You know, there's nothing that's so permanent here. The movie can't even be bothered to kill off characters that don't even matter to the script. You know what I'm saying? Like, people who are on like Team Good. Like, Team Good doesn't really lose anybody. It just, like, Team Good has a lot of like tangential characters that don't do anything. And they're all still there at the end, not doing anything. And Jason Statham just kind of walks through this film and punch kicks his way through the entire Russian mafia, but not the entire Russian mafia. He leaves part of it there in case they want a sequel, which also is frustrating because it means he didn't really put an end to sex trafficking. He didn't really stop anything. He didn't really save the day. He just brought one girl home. I guess that makes him a hero, but kind of makes you wonder about all of the other Jennies in the world. So, who's their working man? Who's their hero? Or is that for the sequel where he goes back and, you know, we see that there's a conversation. Jenny's like, yeah, I was in this one room. There were a bunch of other girls and you should probably go back for them. And he's like, ah, shit. All right. I'll go back and free the other girls. It's just, I don't know, man. This movie is one of my least favorite movies of 2025. Which is funny because I gave The Beekeeper a B+. So in case you're like, you just don't like this kind of movie, it's like, no, I actually thought The Beekeeper was kind of fun. But The Beekeeper also, when you think about that movie, it's all about stopping this organization that preys on on the elderly. You know what I'm saying? Like tricks people into these things, and they lose all their finances. So uh, through that, he does that. He actually stops that organization. Like he goes through and goes to the person at the top who's responsible for everything. He like burns the whole building down. You know, like I mean, he's he actually achieves what needs to be achieved in that movie. And sure, that film also sets up a sequel and also like a larger universe. And is like, what if we came back for more? Oh, guess what? We are Beekeeper 2 coming next year. So I don't. This doesn't really do what his other films do. This is kind of just like it doesn't understand what makes Jason Statham movies work. It doesn't understand like what makes hero movies work. It's sort of not just getting. It's not just about getting the girl back. It's not just about getting revenge. It's about making sure it never happens again. It's about taking away the whole possibility of it. And these characters that play around with it are like, oh, if I tell you this information, will you let me live? We always have that in every movie, of course. Well, you're a bad guy, so you're going to die. It doesn't really matter whether or not you give up the information or not, or if you are repentant in the last moment. I mean, you're going to die. But when you know that there are other people and you just kind of walked away, you're like, well, I got here. It kind of makes me wonder if the film had been easier, if somebody just given Jenny to him at the beginning, would everybody still be alive? And there'd just still be a criminal organization. They'd be like, well, cautionary tale, guys. Do background checks on these girls before we take them. Like, what is the messaging? I don't get it. I thought the audio description from William Michael Redmond was really nice. Like, I like him in horror movies. I like him in action movies. I think that's his sweet spot. And so he does a great job of making this film feel grittier than it probably is, especially considering Jason Statham never feels like he's ever in any real danger. Highlighting the action sequences, everything is well described. The beginning of the film, I thought before like anybody ever speaks and we're sort of like coming into the film and there's just like a lot to describe and introduce you to. I thought all that was really well done. The action sequences are really well described. So you'll get everything that you want out of this. So why would you want to watch this? Because you like punch, kick, shoot, repeat. That's what you want. That's what you came for. You actually don't care about the plot. If you don't care about plot and story and you came for that, this movie does that. But the minute you start seeping those questions in and letting thoughts into your mind about what is this movie doing? What is the plot? Or start trying to analyze acting or anything like this. I love the film maintains like, they're like, oh, Jason Fleming's in this. And I'm like, I've seen Jason Fleming in some absolutely terrible movies. So he'll sign on to anything. Jason Fleming will say yes to Utopia. He'll be in, what else was he in this year? My Fault London. He's like the most recognizable cast member in that. So he's been like the most recognizable cast member in some truly terrible movies. So just because he's in this doesn't necessarily mean anything either. It's just, I have nothing really nice to say to this movie except for if you came purely for the action, purely for watching Jason Statham punch things, then you're going to get that. But I like a little bit more to my movies, just a semblance of a plot. I actually liked the first Taken, you know? I thought that was a good movie. The sequels are just kind of like, well, how many times are we going to take people? Why do we have sequels to Taken? Sometimes with these movies, like, why are we making sequels? You know? Like, the first movie worked well based on the premise. And if you keep recycling that premise, it just doesn't work. It would almost be better to have a sequel like a Taken and then have somebody else like completely who's not Liam Neeson, and have like a movie that's like a working man and then it's not Jason Statham, but it's like the same general concept where another girl is taken somewhere else and then somebody else has to, because repeating the same concept over and over doesn't necessarily, we can't all be John Wick. And I think the struggle to do that is killing the action industry. The feeling that everybody has to have some sort of John Wickian approach now of building like a larger universe around them, or Taken, or bridging the gap between particular set of skills and there's some sort of clandestine organization that you have to answer to, mixing those two together. It's just, that's like everything we have now. We just have that. That's all we're getting. A working man is kind of the worst of everything that we've been getting. And it's written by two people who should know better and who are fairly competent in what they do. And the script is terrible. And it has nowhere to go. And it doesn't care because it knows you're here to watch things get blown up and people get punched in the face. I'm going to give A Working Man a D minus. This is one of my least favorite movies this year and probably will be at the end of the year. Yeah. So I'm surprised people like this. I don't see what they see in this movie at all. Like, there are other movies that have action in them, but also have plot and character and substance, and we can watch those movies. And there will probably be more of those movies this year that you can watch and enjoy. And you don't have to watch the movie that has no plot and purpose to it. You just to get cool action set pieces. Which honestly, this movie's not like a $200 million movie, so they're just like, there's a fight in a van. Ooh, never seen that done before. That's a good enough reason to make sure I throw it throw it a good score. I don't know. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I'll see you guys on the other side.